Hello and welcome to Good or Bad, and as I'm sure you know, it's almost Christmas. So, a Killer Santa movie? You know, I think that's how those films are pitched. This is All Through the House, which was released in 2015 and was directed by Todd Nunes. The movie kicks right off with some bad acting.
But what if I miss and hit the window? Who gives a shit? Just throw it, you little bastard!
Well, this is going to be fun, isn't it? After the kids run away from the Santa Scarecrow, we see our mass murderer for the movie pick up the outfit. So the only reason the killer dresses as Santa in this movie is because it's just the first outfit he happened to come across? Well, I guess he just got lucky then. Imagine if he found a Minnie the Mouse mascot. Actually, I'd pay to see that. So the killer begins by creeping through a house and murdering some people. Brutally, with garden shears. But the couple that dies were about to have fun times, and the guy was just psyching himself up.
Really need you to get ready now.
It's okay, we all have problems. I mean, it's completely natural not to be... Actually, I made this joke a few weeks ago, never mind.
Please come and see.
No, 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 no. That's just horrible. And I don't thank this movie for the severed penis on the floor visual that I will spare you from seeing. You're welcome. Well, they were our opening kills. Thanks, movie. And trouble sleeping tonight. Sorry, I did a thumbs up, I meant this one. Get them mixed up all the time. But anyway, time for a lovely Christmas song. I won't be singing it, I don't sing. Trust me, you do not want to hear that.
Ho, 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 here comes Santa. Ho, 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 look out for Santa. Up on the house top, click, click, click.
Well, isn't this festive?
Down through the chimney comes old Saint Nick. All the kids love his big red sack.
Remember before when I just kept saying no repeatedly? Well, yeah, that again, really. So this is our main character, Rachel. She's played by Ashley Mary Nunes. Nunes is also the name of the director. Rachel is just stopping by to see her grandma before she goes Christmas shopping. But her neighbour, Mrs. Garrett, who is played brilliantly in this movie by Melinda Kearing, wants her help with Christmas decorations. But Rachel has shopping to do, but promises to come back afterwards. Let's just cast this incredibly exciting plot development to one side for a moment, as someone else is about to die. Okay, who let Michael Myers into this movie? Because we all know killing dogs is his thing. Because, you know, I really had to spell out why I made the Michael Myers joke, in case you didn't get it. Kind of kills the joke though, doesn't it? But what can you do?
Sugar balls! Sugar balls.
And who calls their dog sugar balls? It's a genuine question. And another one bites the dust. And while you try and get that song out of your head and the memories of those shitty dance moves, we see that Mrs. Garrett is a little unstable.
I was just a child. And you passed me around to all those.
Ooh, dark twist. Rachel meets her friends and they go to pad this movie out a little with Smiles shopping bags and some guy called Cody who Rachel maybe used to date. I don't know, I'm only really mentioning it so when he turns up at the end of the movie to save Rachel it doesn't seem out of the blue. Spoilers. Here's a random horny couple who are about to get murdered.
Then we create a safe word. And then if things get too wild for you, just say the safe word and I'll stop.
Right, what about jingle balls?
Right, so let me get this straight. All I have to do is say jingle balls and this all stops. Right, let me just think about this for a minute. Yes, I may have slurred there when I said think. It's my thinking slur. Right, I think I've come to a conclusion. Jingle balls! Jingle balls! Oh, it's still going. So she gets killed by Killer Santa. Cool garden shear moves? Sorry, you know me. I can't resist.
Jingle balls! Jingle balls!
Hey, movie. I already made that joke. Stop copying me, which is clearly what is going on here. Ah, yes, of course he cuts his dick off. And naturally I get to see yet another bloody severed penis on the floor. Only this time a cat starts licking it. Merry fucking Christmas.
You really should eat, dear.
Oh, I see it's dinner time in the Garrett house. I wonder, does she sit with the mannequins every night of the year and just dress them up for Christmas? Or does she only break them out for the festivities? Okay, so Rachel and friends turn up to help decorate Crazy Lady's house, and the movie explains that Mrs. Garrett had a daughter called Jamie who disappeared years ago. Jamie was the same age as Rachel, but Jamie was kept inside for a mysterious reason. Let's hit the flashback button and see why.
Come away from the window, baby. Stop torturing yourself. Those children, they won't understand you. They will make fun of you. They will laugh at you because you are different.
Well, isn't she a lovely person? So the movie doesn't tell us what happened with Jamie yet, but I think we can all see it coming that Jamie is the killer Santa. I mean, come on, it's obvious. We have a random killer that seemingly has nothing to do with the crazy lady which the movie keeps drawing emphasis to, who just happens to have a child who disappeared years ago. You see it coming a mile off, but Rachel's friend has another theory.
I know what happened. I was in kindergarten, and Jonathan Curtis, who used to live down this very street.
Do people really say things like lives down this very street? It just sounds weird. But I digress. Continue.
And she was taken by some hideously deformed creature named Krampus.
No, Krampus can bugger off this year. He's been in my videos for the past 2 Christmases. So it's time for another couple to die, as obviously not Jamie at all strikes again. You know, this movie has so many people in it that are barely dressed and are about to have sex that it makes Friday the 13th look classy. Which is saying something. Why was you only alarmed the second time the bed moved? What did you think the first one was? The window being left open? So she dies, then her girlfriend dies, and not Jamie Killer Santa steals their sex toy. Well, why not? Rachel and co continue to not run away from the obviously disturbing woman's house as they are left to decorate it while Mrs. Garrett is out not being in this movie for a bit. Okie dokie, random factoid time. Rachel's mother died sometime before this movie started, and earlier in this film, Mrs. Garrett claimed never to have met her before. But now Rachel has found an old picture that suggests they do in fact know each other. Rule 1 of pretending you have not met the person you have spoilers murdered is remove any evidence that says otherwise. Then they find a mannequin with lipstick kisses all over it. And just why haven't they run away yet? But anyway, let's check in on Rachel's grandmother, who gets a phone call from Rachel asking whether Mrs. Garrett knew her mother, which doesn't really go anywhere. Then she gets killed, and this time it doesn't involve garden shears. Nice to mix things up every 8 kills or so, isn't it? Then not Santa Killer Jamie murders a cat, and the only thing worse than that was that the movie did a cat jump scare scene. For shame, movie. The only thing lazier than that is when somebody closes a bathroom mirror cupboard door thing and there's somebody stood behind them. Rachel then heads back to her grandmother's, so that means her two friends are alone and ripe for the picking at crazy Mrs. Garrett's house. And there is a bit of a runaround with these two, but ultimately they end up dead. Then we find out that Rachel's mother was having an affair with Mrs. Garrett's husband. So putting two and two together, Rachel and Jamie are related, because if there's an affair involved, it just sort of always happens, doesn't it? Now that her friends are dead, Rachel goes back to the Garrett house, and when she finds it empty, she randomly picks up a cup and starts drinking from it. Yeah, go back to a creepy house, call out for your friends, nobody answers, find a random cup, drink out of it. Seems like a no fucking brainer, doesn't it? The movie then tries to throw us off the scent by telling us that Mr. Garrett was sent to prison 15 years ago, right around the time Jamie disappeared. So this is clearly an attempt to make us think Evil Santa is Mr. Garrett. But I'm still set on the Jamie theory, and I know I've seen it all at the time of writing, but I only wrote down the thoughts I had while I was watching it, which was before I wrote this, so it still counts. Rachel finds Mrs. Garrett's creepy room and finds Mrs. Garrett in there, and we get an explanation dumped in our laps. When Jamie was born, Mrs. Garrett really wanted a girl, but Jamie was a boy, and Mrs. Garrett hates men more than anything. Presumably because she was raped years before, or at least an earlier scene suggests so. So yes, Mrs. Garrett hates men so much that she had a child with one. Kinda skipped over an important part of her character there, didn't you, movie? And she was revolted at the thought she had a baby boy, so she tried to fix the problem. She cut off her child's penis and then framed her husband for it, and even though she got away with the mutilation, Jamie was still taken away from her. Jamie was put into a mental health hospital until very recently, when Jamie broke out. And now all Jamie has done is go from house to house, stealing penises and penis-like objects, in the hopes that Mrs. Garrett can, in her words, fix Jamie by surgically attaching someone else's severed dick to Jamie's body. Well, they do say therapists rake it in at Christmas. Remember not so long ago when Rachel randomly picked up that cup and started drinking? Well, it was a bit dodgy. I have an idea. Why don't you just have the garden shears surgically attached? You seem to love them enough. Rachel backs away into the closet, and when the doors open, it's Cody stood there because he's somehow silently knocked out Jamie, who gets immediately back up and starts fighting with Cody again. But despite getting his leg broken, he wins the fight. Off screen. Behind a bed. Because why bother showing a fight scene? Yes, it's a masterfully shot scene, isn't it? Rachel stashes a limping Cody in a cupboard somewhere and then movie fill a chase scene until both of them are captured by Crazy Lady and her son. Or would that be daughter? Actually, I'm not even going to go near that one. Crazy Lady believes Rachel should be her daughter as Mr. Garrett gave the wrong woman a baby girl. But what about Jamie?
Jamie, may I see what you've brought me?
Oh my, you've been busy, haven't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you in all of its glory a bag of severed dicks. Merry Christmas.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth
How do I get out of here?
receive her King.
Guys,
Let every
I said how do I get out of here?
hear him rule, and heaven
Ah,
and nature sing.
Don't worry. I know Jamie's crazy as a hoot. And I know there is no possible way I could fix Jamie's problem.
So Crazy Lady has been lying to Jamie this entire time. She doesn't plan on fixing him by attaching somebody else's penis to him. She plans on killing him. I wonder how that's going to go for her. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. Yeah, and before she died, she also killed Cody. So they bury Mrs. Garrett outside. Yes, they bury her because Jamie now listens to Rachel because... And that's where the movie ends. Yeah, no final fight with Jamie or anything. The movie just ends there. Well, that was all through the house. Or more appropriately, all through the houses. Because There was many houses in this. And no matter which house they were going through at the time, the movie still sucks. It just sucks. The acting is bad, almost every character feels bland and the performance is forced, with Mrs. Garrett being the only exception. But that's just because she was over the top hilarious. But everyone else was just either forgettable or downright bad. And as for the killer, despite his desire to make us fear for our manhood, he was a little mundane. It was all just garden shear kill after garden shear kill, with one or two deaths that weren't actually garden shear related. There was that one other kill where he tried strangulation, but then he just used the garden shears. So I guess I am asking, why the garden shears? Was it just so he could thrust them about the place? I mean, garden shears aren't what you would typically expect a killer Santa Claus to use. Why not use a serrated candy cane? Or a trained bloodthirsty reindeer? I mean, there are other Killer Santa movies out there. I admittedly haven't seen many of them. I imagine they use a variety of weapons, which if they are just killers who dress as Santa, that's fine. Use whatever is to hand. But when you pick one weapon to use for the entire film, a signature weapon if you like, you expect it to gel a little better with your overall theme. But then I suppose Jason Voorhees doesn't use a hockey stick, so I can't really go on about that too much. So I will end this little weapon rant by saying maybe he is just the gardener of the Killer Santa Club. Which is a little funny because he is much more suited to being the lumberjack. You know, because he's always chopping wood. That's clever. So back to the review. The kills were all pretty boring and the overall story didn't really make much sense. Jamie was in a mental health hospital for 15 years and then broke out and started killing. Yeah, real original, guys. But did Mrs. Garrett play any part in breaking him out, or did he just randomly break out on his own? And then there's the plan to attach a penis to him, which Mrs. Garrett said she would help him do. But then she openly admits she would rather just kill him instead. Did she only go along with that insane plan because she thought he would just kill her if not? Because honestly, Mrs. Garrett doesn't seem like someone who would be afraid of that. She doesn't seem like someone who would do something out of fear of possibly being murdered. She seems like someone who would do the murdering herself before anyone else got a chance to do any murdering. So if she planned to kill him from the very beginning, why wait so long? Why not just be like, yes, it's okay, Jamie, I will help you get your penis back, but first come here, I will give you a hug. Although really I'm going to stab you to death, but shh, don't tell yourself that. It just doesn't seem very well thought out. Also, I'd just like to say that this movie takes something from both Halloween and Friday the 13th. The Halloween part, locked up in a mental health institute for 15 years. The same 15 years, then broke out and started killing. The Friday part, I'd say is a little bit more subtle. Jamie is the main killer, just like Jason is in Friday the 13th, but the original killer was Pamela Voorhees. The original killer in this movie, admittedly off screen, is his mother. She killed anyone before Jamie ever did. So it kind of takes something from both, and I don't know whether it was intentional, but I kind of like that. However, it's not all unintentional things that I like, because then there's the forced Christmas theme. Because the Killer Santa doesn't have a reason to be a Killer Santa, he just happened to break out at Christmas and find the Santa Claus outfit. The movie doesn't feel like a Christmas movie, it just feels like a movie that wants to be a Christmas movie, so it sets itself at Christmas, puts Christmas things in the movie, and that's it. But beyond that, it has nothing to do with Christmas. Granted, Halloween doesn't have anything to do with Halloween, and I love the hell out of that movie, so I can't really be too hard on it for that. But whereas Halloween is a good slasher movie, this is a bad slasher movie. And on that note, I will leave you now. You have been watching Good or Bad, and I'll see you next time. That's just horrible, and I don't thank this movie for the severed penis on the floor visual that I will spare you from seeing. Bollocks. There wasn't a bollocks as well, it was just the severed penis. No severed bollocks. This movie has a bit of class. That is just horrible. And I don't thank this movie for the severed penis on the floor visual that I will spare you for seeing. Fuck.